If you cannot meet the standards of having a tool application that works, then probably you're going to lose clients. And also when it comes to reputation, you will lose reputation as well. Do not compare yourself with others. Because at the moment when you start comparing, you are like, look at this SaaS, like they are, growing 10% MRR every month. Look at me, I'm not even making X or charging X, and I need to stop and maybe I will lose. We failed because we built a product without having in mind who our ideal customer is, how we are going to sell, how we are going to promote. So you can imagine like a typical story where you have a big idea, you sit and work on it like for months, 8, 9, 10, 11, I don't know how many.
In today's episode, my guest is Ivana Todorovic. Ivana is the founder of AuthoredUp. AuthoredUp is a LinkedIn content creation and analytics tool to boost your LinkedIn growth. Before founding AuthoredUp, Ivana has worked in various editor roles, worked in multiple blockchain roles before it was really a hype, and co-founded TalentKit, which is her failed startup. So we're going to have some great insights from that. Next to growing AuthoredUp, she's also involved at the European Commission as a subject matter expert and as a partner for European projects at the Serbia Institute for Research and Development. Welcome to the show, Ivana.
Thank you so much, Joran, for having me.
Cheers. We're going to dive right in. I'm going to ask you some quick questions to get to know you and to get to know the company. Let's start with the company. When did you start it?
It was February 2022, the first idea started. And in July 2022, we launched the first version, which was the beta.
That's pretty quick. We're going to dive into that more. Are you funded or bootstrapped?
Bootstrapped fully.
And are you able to share anything regarding your ARR?
We are not disclosing ARR, but I can share that we have more than 3,000 paid customers and that we have more than 500K in ARR.
And is there any separation between like service and product revenue, or do you even offer services?
No, we don't offer services. We are asked a lot about the services part, but right now we are only providing product it's a SaaS. And sometimes for big customers, we do a few sessions of, let's call it services, so coaching, coding, etc., just to get a team of 20, 30, 50 people to use AuthoredUp.
Yeah, makes sense. And how many employees does AuthoredUp have?
4 employees.
And in 1 or 2 sentences, what does it do?
It's a tool that helps regular people to build their personal brands on LinkedIn through content creation.
Right. I love how you, even on the site, I think you have like regular people to really go for the mass. Is this your first real startup?
No, as you said in the introduction, like I had one with the same co-founder, by the way, and that one successfully failed. We worked on it about 1.5 years, I think, and we failed.
Okay, we're going to dive more into that. May I ask, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 31 and soon to be 32.
Nice. And have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur because this is a second startup?
I'm not sure. My father was an entrepreneur his whole life, and I was working from my 12th or 13th year. I was helping him. It was fun, but then I studied economic theory. Then I got more into startups, working for others. Then I realized that I really want to start something where I will be in charge and where I'm going to take the risk.
Nice. And do you have an end goal defined with AuthoredUp?
Not in a monetary sense, but I have a goal to help more than 10,000 people to build their personal brands on LinkedIn. And I have the second goal is to implement specific machine learning models that I always wanted to build to help people. So to experiment a lot with new technologies and then also to make it fun.
Yeah, so it's really, I guess, like product oriented goals. Like you really want to build a good product for a lot of people, which they can use. Nice. You see that a lot with bootstrap companies. Is that also the thing which keeps you motivated?
Yes, but also like I think the biggest hype I get is when I get a customer that I don't know, they don't know their name. I was never in contact with them, sending me a DM or replying to some email newsletter, telling us how much we help them and that they wouldn't be where they are when it comes to their personal brand, new job, revenue, leads, if there wasn't for AuthoredUp, and that they would fail if there wasn't a tool like this. So that's really keeps me motivated when they share their experience and how valuable they find the tool.
Yeah, so really getting successful clients who love your product and almost can't live without it. Okay, well, this is a bit the fire round, so we're going to dive deeper now. Let's just go to the beginning of AuthoredUp. Like, how did you came up with the idea?
So, as I mentioned, like with the first startup, how we failed. We failed because we built a product without having in mind who our ideal customer is, how we are going to sell, how we are going to promote. So you can imagine like a typical story where you have a big idea, you sit and work for it on it like for months, 8, 9, 10, 11, I don't know how many, hundreds of features, and then you realize I need people. And the name is Talent Kit because we were targeting take-home assessments in a recruiting process. So we were looking for recruiters to try out our product for free, but just to get some awareness. And we tried a few channels. Again, it was bootstrapped. So someone told us, like, you should start creating content on LinkedIn. And my co-founder is not a professional marketer. I'm not a professional marketer or salesperson, nor is he. So we went to LinkedIn and we really wanted to create something that will catch attention, but we didn't know how to do it. So we got into analyzing how the best creators are doing it. But again, it wasn't us. And all of the tools were for like marketing teams, like different schedulers for different platforms. Like you can do 100 different stuff and you really don't know what to prioritize. So after a few months of doing that and talking to people, we realized that there are some features that are important. We tried to find such tool, we couldn't. So we decided to make it happen.
Yeah. And is that the moment that you also dropped then a Talent Kit?
Yes. So we were thinking like we had two options. One was to pivot Talent Kit, but that would take a lot. And we were not really sure about the idea. And then on the other side, we also felt like this can be something. At least is this helping us? And what I didn't mention is that we built like a very small tool internally just to solve the problem. We provided to a few people for free, to our friends. They used it and they told us like, this is nice. So from that moment, when we realized that, okay, this seems to be useful, maybe we can make something out of it. But we didn't have a whole vision for the tool. We just wanted to get to the stage where we can talk to people to understand what are the pains and then to solve them.
Yeah, so kind of the opposite of what you did with the other startup, right? Not having an ICP, a lot of features, free product.
Exactly.
You now went for really, I mean, you might not have fully defined your ICP, but at least a small target audience, a small set of features going into market, and then figure out like what are the pain points and who is our ICP.
Exactly. We even knew that the features that we had at that moment are not valuable enough so people are willing to pay for it. Definitely not a subscription, or maybe some lifetime deal, you know, like some very, very cheap product. But we knew that if there is an option to communicate, even if we can get to, because it was a Chrome extension, if we can get to like 200 people, that was our goal, to install the extension, that would mean that potentially we can reach out to most of them, get feedback, and then from there understand what the tool should be. So this was just the ticket to get to the stage. And then we'll need to figure out how to build a real product.
Yeah. Going from 200 people to now 3,000 paying clients. And you kind of maybe already answered my question. Like, did you know from the beginning it was going to be such a success?
No, I had no clue because I didn't feel it is like a real product at the beginning. Like it had only two features. Then also like I didn't know how to charge for it. And I knew that it will be a long path from the moment where because when we launched it was for free, so you know there was no skin in the game. Anyone can install. We didn't even have a username, password, anything like a platform, like a website. Luckily we get a lot of traction at the beginning. We had a huge help in community where people that obviously didn't know us liked the tool, shared it in the feed, and then the installation started to, and we got to these 200 like in a few days. But again, those are just free installations. And you cannot put a number on it. So it took us a lot to understand and to figure out what is the product. And when we are looking to get to the real thing and put a price tag on it.
How did you do that? Because I think a lot of people struggle with having indeed something free. People are willing to use it. Like you, sometimes people go to Absolute to do a lifetime deal or something like that. So they have at least some kind of validation, but still nothing like an actual subscription, somebody paying on a monthly level. Like, How did you make that transition?
Well, it wasn't a transition, it was like 13 months of building. So it's not that we just got an idea and there was a product. Plus, we made a lot of decisions at the beginning that cost us time. I still believe in these values. However, it was pretty complex to build a product like AuthoredUp. From the moment when we shipped the free beta, it was July 2022. When we started to charge, it was August 2023. So it was 13 months of development where my co-founder and I are sitting in Science and Technology Park in Serbia every day, 6 days per week, at least, and working like 70 hours per week. So it was totally insane. And a lot of people were telling us that we are insane, that we should start charging, we should get to AppSumo. But we felt that if we, first of all, we had word of mouth, like people started to love AuthoredUp. They were sharing it for free. And that is something that obviously we didn't have any resources to pay. And it is totally different when you provide something for free. Then you can we got to like influencers that had like hundreds of thousands of followers talking about AuthoredUp, reaching out to us, asking us for features. So that is how you start building relationships. And that is something that helped us a lot. So we basically wanted to be on that wave where we are getting free marketing while we are providing a free tool. But from the one, we had really high standards for the application. So we were doing customer support for free. We were doing everything that we could in order to not only get feedback, but we wanted people to feel great and to get AuthoredUp to be sticky as possible. And then at some point, like you start to build features and you realize that people are coming to you and telling you, you know what, like I would easily pay for this. How can I pay? Like you helped me. I really feel I should give something back to you. So it's not okay. This is free. And that you're like, okay, so this seems like something, even though you still don't have a number, it feels like, okay, so people really value the service that you are providing.
Yeah. And was that 13 months? Was that the moment from the free to actually the first payment?
Exactly. Yes.
How did you survive? Because you worked so many hours. You had like 13 months is a really long period.
Yeah. We both were working in pretty good companies. We had some consulting gigs before. So we basically vaporized our savings. So at some point we were like, okay, we need to start charging because like we really won't be able to survive. And we had like a few things that helped us. First of all, for Talent Kit, we had some benefit from our country. It's from EU. So it helped us, for example, to pay for the office, and also office is subsidized. Then we really kept all our costs super low, like very low, like almost no subscriptions, only what you really need to pay. And people were willing to help us and to do some stuff, not for free, but like to put like a cheaper price because they knew that we were really not making anything. So that is, I think, how we survived.
In that period, I can imagine you probably had a rock bottom moment, like either, I guess, financially, personally. Can you share some of those moments and how you got out of them?
Yeah, so it was November, so a few months we are in free beta. We have a few thousand free customers, and we were really looking to add more features. Like we were shipping new feature every few weeks and a lot of bug fixes and improvements in the meantime. But then we realized that we cannot grow AuthoredUp anymore. Like it was version 1.0, and there was no way how we can make it pleasant to use and to add more features. It was very restrictive. It was only part of the LinkedIn editor, and we had to come up with like a totally new UX, which means that we literally have to waste 70% of code and to start over with a new vision, with a totally new experience, how AuthoredUp will work, new features. It was totally insane because we knew that the first version people loved, that they were using it. And we knew it was like almost building a second product and removing the first one because you cannot scale it. We spent a few weeks trying to make it happen in that box. We couldn't. Then we realized, okay, we need to redesign everything, to rebuild everything. And we hoped it will take like 2 months. It took, I think, 3.5. I remember the moment it was Christmas, Serbian Christmas, 7th of January. I'm sick, my co-founder is sick. We are almost 2 months trying to make it happen. We cannot. And I remember sitting here and thinking like, am I really gonna get into this? It was really insane. And somehow, day by day, I was like, okay, let's try. We need to do it. What is the alternative? To tell them, no, we won't build it because it's too complex. So we tried, and luckily, that version was much better than the first one.
Yeah. I think a lot of startups go through this. Like I hear almost a similar story to what we had. In our case, it actually took 6 months to rebuild the entire app. What kind of advice would you give somebody who's going through it or might have to go through it? How do you keep yourself sane during these kind of times?
Short-term goals, and do not compare yourself with others. Because at the moment when you start comparing, you are like, look at this SaaS, like they are, growing 10% MRR every month. Look at me, I'm not even making X or charging X, and I need to stop and maybe I will lose. So if you focus on stuff that is negative, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to, succeed, or it will be much harder. So short-term goals, try to separate tasks as much as possible and to have like 3 things that you are going to do that day just to keep yourself sane and to feel like you did something that day. And then tomorrow you also have another 3 tasks. So that is what helped us because like at that moment, you are working on something, and previous startup had like, we are 2 years into this, no revenue, not even a clue when we are going to start charging. If we start charging, we don't know if we are going to make money. And to just put it into the perspective, we had a pretty nice jobs before. Everything was okay. Yes, we were working, but we were satisfied. And you are like, why am I doing this to myself? People are obviously in vacations, enjoying their time, and we were trying to make this happen where most of the people are feeling like you are insane. So it's hard, but you need some support. Ideally, you have a partner, a friend, family, someone, or a co-founder that is going to help you, and keep small tasks in mind. After a month to 6, I don't know, you will probably make something that is much better than the first version.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just so relatable. Like I think at one point when you're so deep in and you're rebuilding the entire app, you run into so many challenges. Like it's gonna affect your personal life, as you mentioned. Like you can't go on holiday, you can't go out for dinner like every week or every month or maybe even at all.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think maybe one thing I want to add for my personal experience, like we made the mistake to not put it into shorter goals. So I wish we did this podcast sooner. So we rebuilt the app. We took 6 months to do it, and we kind of made it this monster project, which was really demotivating because we were working within the end goal and we didn't define like any shorter goal. So for the devs, it was this huge monster project on when are we actually going to deliver the end results, which Joran care about. But we should have cut it up into smaller projects to keep everybody motivated, and also, myself to figure out like where are we actually with this project. Was this also your biggest company challenge, as in rebuilding the?
I think, it was the biggest personal challenge. Failing with Talent Kit was also extremely challenging because you invested your time, your energy. Again, I mentioned that you have like 5, 6, 7 years of experience already in the industry. You didn't expect that you're going to make so many failures. To be honest, I remember that I was not making jokes, but like, I was reading Twitter, lurking, and it was like super funny when I see that founders are saying that, oh, I didn't talk to customers, I failed, or, like, oh, I didn't know how to set up something. And I was like, yeah, like really, like this is so newbie moment. If I were at your place, I knew what I would do. Well, it wasn't, for real, obviously. So I didn't talk to customers. I developed like tens, hundreds of features. Like some of them are so funny that we are right now making jokes about them. So, it's totally different when you are in the chair, when you are taking the risk, and when it is also your ego involved, when you need to go out and say, you know what, like what I worked for a year is not going to happen. So that was also super challenging. But yes, then this with AuthoredUp, I don't know what was more because they were not in the same time period. But yes, those were the 2 moments where I felt like I failed.
Yeah, and I can imagine if you have so much experience, you kind of think that you know it all, and then you make the common mistakes.
Yeah, that's insane. How can that happen to you? And that's the question. Like, even how this mistake that, you've read so much of it. Like, look at this book. Like, you cannot see. Like, I have a whole library here. Like, I've read so much. I was like a nerdy student, right? I was very precise and specific and thought that I will be much better than I would say, like a typical startup founder, but I wasn't.
And today, how much are you reading right now?
Not enough.
Okay.
Right now, I'm coming back to reading, but right now I'm more into scientific, semi-scientific books, helping me to understand the AI, for example, or where the world is going. So stuff like that.
Are you struggling to find people and companies which have access to your ideal customer profile? At Redditors, we just launched the second side of the marketplace, which allows you to search, filter, and contact B2B SaaS affiliates which have access to the audience you're looking for. We do this by leveraging first-party data sources. Want to learn more? Go to getredditors.com. Let's talk about positive things. Talk about the growth of AuthoredUp. So 3,000-ish paying clients right now. Like, if we just go to your go-to-market, like, are there certain things you've done to grow to where you are right now, which you can talk about?
Yeah, so I think the main pillar, the main strategy was this beta that was super expensive when you count like salaries and everything that we had to do for 13 months. So about 18 months, we decided to have zero revenues because we wanted to build a brand. So that's what really helped us to spread, because we didn't have connections, we didn't have specific position, and we were not LinkedIn influencers. So it was pretty hard to get from the stage zero, where you're a regular person trying to create something on LinkedIn, to getting access to people that really know what they are doing and that are like for 10 or 15 years creators on LinkedIn. So I think that free beta really helped us a lot. I'm not saying that is a great strategy. Like, you don't know whether you have a product market fit. It's expensive if you don't have investors, as we didn't. Even if you have investors, are they going to be willing to support such strategy? So there are a lot of stuff going there, but that helped us a lot. Also, that helped us to talk to people and to build relationships. So the second thing that is still helping us a lot is building relationships with our customers without trying to put like who, in a sense where, so on LinkedIn it's easy, like you have a person that has 20,000 followers and someone with 500 followers, but you cannot really say that the first one is better than the second one in anything. So you need to get into understanding who they are and building relationships. And the third thing that a lot about our values is that we believe as a company, you really need to make a great product. Even though a lot of SaaS founders are like, just ship it, like whatever, try to understand what is going on. Yes, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you can ship something that is semi-broken and people would use it. But right now, especially in our industry, the market is super competitive and people have expectations. People are using Canva, ClickUp, HubSpot, using tools that have, first of all, brand, a lot of features, and are working pretty well. If you cannot meet the standards of having a tool application that works, then probably you're going to lose clients. And also, when it comes to reputation, you will lose reputation as well. So still, we keep that one of our priorities. So every day we are checking. Obviously, we have a customer success team, but we are checking if there are any bugs. We are trying to fix them immediately to, first of all, understand what type of the bug is it, or an issue or misunderstanding. But if our customer doesn't know how to do X, that is our problem. It's not their problem. So we are trying to make improvements all the time, because what is already there on the market, when you install the AuthoredUp, it should be available at any time to you. And then additional features, they are great. We are working on them again, obviously, but you cannot prioritize only new features to get to new customers while telling your existing customers, well, I don't care anymore because you're already in. And that is something that I've realized a lot of founders, especially when investors are pushing them, are doing. We have the opportunity not to behave like that.
Yeah, and is it also because you guys work a lot with influencers? So if you are messing up the product, then it could, like what currently is your strength could also become your weakness?
Yes. When you say working with influencers, we never paid an influencer to promote AuthoredUp. Even when we started to charge, they are still helping us. Obviously, we have an affiliate program, but like the biggest influencers, they are not even looking for an affiliate program. They are like, I like the tool and I'm going to tell it. So I'm going to say it. That's really nice because when you are invested, they also feel, they should support you. However, again, that makes it even harder. So because you are not putting your money and, like, here is X, give me one LinkedIn post, then, your reputation is really at risk every day. So when I get a DM, even if it is from a non-influencer, I'm really trying to resolve it immediately, because if that person has an issue, probably like there are more people with the same problem.
But at the moment, you have 3,000 paid clients. I think you said 4 members on the team right now.
Yeah. When we are talking only about employees, I am
Yeah.
not counting on consultants. We have a lot of consultants. I think that right now more than 5 are involved. Plus, we have a lot of people that are helping us, not as consultants like on a retainer, but here and there jumping in when we need some help.
Yeah. So, because you mentioned also you have a customer success team.
Yeah.
Is that then part of those 4 employees, or is it an outside team?
No. So we have the inside team, and then we also have some help from the outside. But we are, when I say customer success team, it's literally the guy who is a customer success manager, right? Then my co-founder, me, and our developer, like Vanya. So we are a team, plus other people, because I'm all the time in Freshdesk. That's the tool that we are using, tracking the tickets, the team. And it's funny because I think in our channel that's called support, like there you have the most activity in all the channels that we have.
Nice. Okay, I love it. Everybody is still in support.
Yeah.
When we talk about your go-to-market, have you made any critical decisions? Like if you'd done X, Y, Z, I wouldn't be here. I think the beta is definitely one. Are there any other moments in the journey until so far?
Not something that I can point out like, okay, here is the thing, but being consistent in helping people. Beta is one part. So you give a product, you ship it, and you try to make it work. And then the second part is being there for the community. I think that community management, basically being on LinkedIn and talking to people, saying, I apologize, or this is not how AuthoredUp should work. We are going to get into it. Or thank you so much for mentioning us, or sharing insights, like, because we are doing a lot of research. So we can share something that they may find insightful and they can use. So helping, but being consistent with that, you also, again, you get a lot of back, because people then start to tag you. They, even if they are not your customers, they ask you, if they even tag AuthoredUp, not me personally, because we are also trying to have AuthoredUp as a brand, not only to build personal brands.
Yeah, makes sense. And are you able to tell anything regarding your current acquisition channels? What is working well?
Yeah, it's product led. Like, we are basically trying to make a great product. We are trying to ship new features we have open roadmap. Anyone can vote who is our customer, suggest a feature, and we are looking at that all the time. And our customer support, right? So then we basically building what people want or trying to fix the process. That's the main thing I would say right now. Then again, community management, where we are active on LinkedIn as AuthoredUp, but also I would say my personal brand. I wasn't posting for some time, and right now I'm back, and we already see positive results when it comes to free trials, when it comes to upgrades a lot, and retention, getting people not to cancel or will get back to AuthoredUp after a few months of not paying and not posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah, might make sense. Like if they start following you, then they see you posting, then they're like, oh, I actually have to pick it up myself again as well.
Yeah, and I'm posting about LinkedIn Insights because we have been working on analysis. We are doing it almost weekly, depends how the trends are going. So we know whether impressions are down, which content types perform the best, what features LinkedIn is building, what is coming. So a lot of stuff that is super hard to understand. Plus, on that number of profiles and millions of posts that we have access to, we also have an opportunity to build machine learning models. We have models, we have statistics, we use it heavily to understand what is important. And then I can also share that. And then it's not my gut feeling. It's not an influencer said why. It's not based on my 100 posts or based on my few clients. It's like based on 3, 4, 5, 10,000 profiles, 2 million posts. This is how something performs. And that is when I think this is the biggest external analysis of how LinkedIn feed works. I don't know any company that is doing it more deeper than we do. Obviously, LinkedIn has much more insights. They know how algorithm works, but they don't want to share. So we are trying to figure it out based on the data set that we have access to.
Love it. Well, definitely we're going to link a link to your LinkedIn profile so people can start following you. Are you using any kind of processes, frameworks you learned from any of those books or elsewhere?
I'm listening, when it comes to startups, I'm listening to podcasts, to be honest. I've read typical startup books, right? You need to read Peter Thiel, and stuff like that. But I'm listening a lot to podcasts because I'm commuting. And I like to spend these 30 minutes in every direction listening to podcasts, listening to other founders, and then also listening to specific topics that I'm interested in. When I was starting to think about our affiliate program, I think I listened to like 10 to 20 different episodes of different podcasts, figuring out what really works, what doesn't, for which industry, understanding the concepts so I can first of all make a decision. And then also when I start, I'm already better than the beginner because even though I don't have an experience, I at least listen to a lot of successful or less successful stories and I know where to look.
That's interesting. So when you go into a new acquisition channel or something you don't know, you listen to a lot of podcasts, educate yourself, and then you also become like a subject matter expert. So as soon as you start talking to tools, at least you don't have to go to the basics and you can.
Yeah, at least I know how to ask questions and at least I know what is important and like what are the expectations. Like when it comes to affiliate program, like I learned pretty fast that after 1 to 3 months you cannot expect much and that you really need at least 6 to see whether that channel works for you if you obviously follow some steps. I'm trying to figure out what is realistic so I don't stop the program before maybe it can skyrocket. Maybe it won't, but like maybe before it grows. Or if I don't waste too much resources and time figuring it out, if I can figure it out pretty fast, I don't need 6 months.
Nice. I love the process and I'm happy that with this educated decision you actually came to Reddit. So I'm happy about that. When we talk about AuthoredUp, is there anything or maybe in your entire startup journey, anything you have regret on which you haven't done or you didn't do sooner?
Yeah. First of all, I was working too much. You can work too much because you feel like, especially at the beginning, I felt all the time that I need to be there. So I need to be active on LinkedIn and I had almost a burnout. And then I stopped, for example, creating content on LinkedIn because it was just too much. I didn't know how to make like my life outside of checking LinkedIn notifications. So that is one part. The second part is I didn't start to outsource many things. I was trying a lot of stuff by myself. And I think that I also wasted time because I didn't get a consultant or get help. I was trying to figure it out by myself. Obviously, I learned a lot, but at that moment, I don't think that was a good decision. It's much better to focus on what you are really good at while trying to figure out some other stuff through working with consultant, getting a SaaS or, any other type of help. For example, I was doing some designs and I'm pretty bad at designing. So you can see I'm designing my LinkedIn posts. They are pretty funny, but I don't expect people to follow me because I know how to design something. However, for example, for my blog, I would spend a few hours trying to make a background image, which is totally insane. I could pay someone and first of all the quality would be much higher and I had enough to pay for 10 background images for 10 blog posts and that is basically the only thing that I really needed. I had to learn that unfortunately by doing it, but I hope that others will think what is the return on investment when it comes to doing specific tasks.
Yeah, and how did you fix your LinkedIn issue? Did you turn off the notifications, deleted the app?
I didn't delete the app because I still had to be active. I still had to talk to people in DMs and to respond. But one thing that I realized at that moment, I had to stop posting. It was just too much because it's not about posting when you are, I won't say popular, but you have a personal brand as I do, and you also want to be very polite. Then you also want to reply to every comment, to get into discussions, and you also want to do it as fast as possible. So that means after I would post, I would get like who knows how many comments, like 30, 50. If I respond to all of them, that's an hour and a half of my time. If someone responds again, if sometimes LinkedIn notifications don't work, I don't get notifications, I feel like, oh, I should have responded. I didn't. I feel bad about it. So there is a lot of like mental process that is happening. And then I realized right now when I'm back that I should have been there for X minutes per day, try to get into discussions, but I cannot expect from anyone else, also I cannot expect that from me, to be able to get every comment, to respond to every message, to every tag, because it's not really how the system works.
Yeah, and I think they had a bug in a long time that you just didn't receive the notifications. So I can definitely feel the stress. And final question before we dive into the last questions, like how do you currently leverage new technologies like AI, machine learning?
Yeah, so when it comes to machine learning, we build and we plan to build even more internal models. AuthoredUp, by the way, doesn't have a GPT wrapper, so you cannot go to AuthoredUp, click a button and get a LinkedIn post. It's not how it works. Our philosophy is basically you are an expert, you have an idea, and we'll do everything to help you communicate what you already have in mind, but please keep your tone and voice. Having that in mind, we are right now implementing for the next version different machine learning and AI models, but they won't do full text generation. They will, for example, help you to decide what is the best time to post for you, help you to search through embeddings different types of posts so you can get an inspiration, suggest you a hook or an end based on enough text that you already put there. So basically our idea is to have different small AI and ML tools that are supporting you rather than trying to take over the content generation. Because in full honesty, it is super simple to build a tool where you press a button and get a LinkedIn post. It is much harder to do something that is more precise and specific and personalized for each customer.
Makes a lot of sense. Cool. Let's dive into the final questions, revenue related. So, talking to other SaaS founders, like what kind of advice would you give them for somebody who's just starting out and trying to grow to 10K monthly recurring revenue?
That was our main goal at the beginning. So I would say try to niche down as much as possible. Try to get one type of the ideal customer that you have in mind. Feel amazing when they are using your product and try to make your product to be much better than the alternatives because you probably don't have a name brand, etc. So you really, really want to have relationships at the beginning, solve one real pain and charge enough so people feel great when they are paying you and they are looking to support you in the future.
Love it. And when we go beyond 10K monthly recurring revenue, so we're going to make a huge step right now towards 10 million ARR on your journey yourself as well. What kind of advice would you give other SaaS founders?
To be honest, we are not even close. So I cannot give advice from my experience, but I can say what we plan to do. We are at a pretty low pricing point. We are at the beginning, first of all, we're targeting only individuals. It's super hard to get to 10 million with a product that costs $20 per month. What we plan to do is to scale and to try to help SMBs. You already have insights from the individuals. Smaller companies probably need something like that plus additional features. So you are basically looking to get from this $20 to $100 or $200 at least per month from companies. You are not looking for enterprises, for big companies, but if I can sell, for example, 10 or 20 or 50 licenses rather than one, that makes it much more easier for me to reach that goal. Again, also when you are not doing individuals, but you are looking for companies, you can also prioritize annual plans, which are going to help you with the cash flow, and then you can reinvest channels in experience in support. So that is what we plan to do. We'll see how it will go.
Maybe we're going to put you on later on the podcast again and see how it went. Nice. Let me try to summarize the episode in just a couple of sentences. So I guess like starting out, a tool of your own need is a great way to start. Start with small features, get feedback, define your ICP with their pain points, make a great product, which people feel great about and make them feel great. So one pain to get to 10 product-led can be a really great growth channel. You took 13 months of building to go from a free version to a full product with subscriptions. Long free beta did help you to build a brand. You did it also with an open roadmap, customer success, providing a lot of support and really focusing on the product to make it feel great. You did it by saving upfront a lot and also taking advantage of the EU benefits, subsidies, etc. Look into that. And when you're in the point where you have to rebuild your app, go for short-term goals to make it actionable. If you're diving into a new project, listen to relevant podcasts to educate yourself. And reading doesn't mean you make the common mistakes. You will probably have those as well. I think that was a bit the summary. Thank you for coming on, Ivana.
Thank you, Joran. It was really a pleasure.
Nice. If people want to get in contact with you, where should they contact you?
Yeah, just, follow me on LinkedIn and you will learn a lot about LinkedIn and personal brand and content creation. I can promise that.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend follow Ivana. 3,000 paid clients. They are connected to a lot of LinkedIn profiles, millions of posts, and she shares weekly insights based on real data. So no assumptions there. Thanks again for coming on. If you like this episode, give us a thumbs up or a review on the channel you're listening. And we're going to add a question to this podcast episode as well. So happy to hear your thoughts. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this show of the Grow Your B2B SaaS podcast. You made it till the end, so I think we can assume you like this content. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you like this content, feel free to reach out if you want to sponsor the show. If you have a specific guest in mind, if you have a specific topic you want us to cover, reach out to me on LinkedIn. More than happy to take a look at it. If you want to know more about Reditus, feel free to reach out as well. But for now, have a great day and good luck growing your B2B SaaS.